I watch you all the time.
Thanks. Thank you.
Me and my boyfriend are like, babe, look at the dog.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, look at the dog.
Yeah.
Even better. Even better.
Hey guys, we are back.
Hello.
I'm Rob,
I'm Maria.
and
This is Ruth.
this is well, we're going to introduce her before later on, but we'll get to that. You may not have seen us in October. In fact, you didn't see us because we weren't on. We've had some scheduling conflicts and things of that nature, but we are back with a new title and a new look. Instead of the Rob and Maria show, we are now Independence Today. And there's,
Yes.
and there's two reasons for that. First of all, obviously, Maria and I are much too humble to have our names in the title.
Yes, too humble.
Secondly, I think Independence Today more closely aligns with what we're trying to do, help people with disabilities become more independent,
Yeah.
and in so doing, actualize their potential.
Yes, I like that. We also have a new set today. We wanted to have a roundtable conversation kind of set up, and I love our decorating. Thank you to Sean, Alice, Joanne, everybody who helped out setting this up. So thank you.
All right. And we are pleased and honored to have actually two guests today. This is Ruth Thompson. She's the executive director of the Anna Shelter.
Hi, everybody.
And Anna, if you don't know, is an acronym. It stands for Association for Needy and Neglected Animals. And we have with her this beautiful four-legged furry friend. And what's his name?
This is Hannah. It's a girl.
Oh, it's a girl, okay. Hannah. And what is her breed?
Hannah's a Doberman Pinscher. She's a red Doberman, so hence the name Hannah. It's like a reddish-brown color.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Part of a big rescue that we just took part in,
Wow.
taking in 18 Dobermans, and one of my favorite breeds, and so this is hopefully going to be my dog eventually. Yeah,
Awesome.
working her into my pack. Yeah.
You're going to have to build an ark soon.
I know, right?
Dude, that's every time I watch it, I'm like, I need to bring a
Right?
whole farm of them. and
Yeah,
just
that-
every
yeah,
single dog.
That's kind of where I'm headed. I like stay.
You're
in
living my
bubble.
dream.
Yeah, come on, girl. Come on
That's
in.
awesome.
Come on in.
Ruth, when did you get started in the animal rescue business, and why?
If you'd asked my mother, my dad's deceased, so I can't say my parents, but since I was a little girl, I remember walking through the alley, grew up on East 10th Street, looking for stray cats. That was like my thing, and I would find one, I'd bring it home, and I'd get yelled at. So I think it was just, it really truly is just who I am. And that's what makes it easy.
Yeah.
And it's not easy in any sense of the word. It's way harder than I thought it was going to be, but it's my passion. So it's easy to live that passion and to do it. So formally though, I volunteered all through college at the time the only other brick and mortar shelter in our area. And I learned a lot, and I learned everything I wanted to do versus everything I didn't want to do, how I would be different. And it wasn't until 2004, and I thank my dad for one, just the way she's very sweet.
Aww.
One, just the way I was raised, very philanthropic and a hard worker. And I was not complaining, but I was just telling him how, I'd really do this different. And he said, if you think you can do it better, then do it. And that was in 2002, and I formally opened the doors in 2004. So
You were doing it, if I have this right, you were doing this in your basement or something.
Yeah, at the flower shop. Yeah, I started putting, and it was cats mainly, in the basement of the flower shop, and then dogs, and then as the dogs became too much for the flower shop, obviously, I started renting space from a veterinarian locally, and I really believed that there was a need. There was a need for what I was doing and how I was doing it. Yeah. And thank God our community really embraced us. And here I am, however many years later. It's been a while.
I had a side thing. Did you hear about the new law put in place now with
domestic violence? Yeah, and there's such a correlation there.
Oh my gosh,
and I'm so thankful that our legislation is really taking animals serious. And a huge shout out to I probably get more phone calls from different police departments, municipalities, state police, that they're really taking animal stuff seriously, and that means a lot.
Well, Ryan Bizarro's really been a leader
Ryan's a great
in this
guy.
area too. Yeah.
Good friend,
absolutely.
Good friend and a good friend of the animal community. So he does really care, works hard. He's got a couple Anna alumni that he's adopted, and his family's adopted from us. But yeah, I mean, we can't make a change, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
without some kind of
Right.
legislation.
Thank God it
Um,
happened.
Yeah, but at the
Finally.
end of the day, you know, I just wanna take care of the animals, you
Yes,
know,
yeah.
so I don't do any of my own lobbying or getting involved in anything like that. I just wanna take care of the animals, you know?
Now, Rob,
Well-
you said you volunteer, but
Yes.
my question with that is how do you break that emotional attachment from going there, hearing all of them crying and stuff like that, and then like going home and without an animal? How
Well,
do you do
it's,
that?
well, first of all, I can't bring another animal.
Okay.
Where I live in an apartment complex, we're only allowed one furry friend.
Okay.
And I did adopt a Maine Coon cat, which I,
Huge cats.
well, he must be mixed breed because he's
How
not.
long
re-
ago was that?
Oh my God, that was about
5 years?
three, no,
3
that's
years?
been 3.5 years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
And his name is Hans, and he's just wonderful.
Yeah.
He rules the apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Rob just lives there.
we
Yeah.
should pay rent to
Yeah.
him.
Okay.
But anyway,
Thank
so that's that part, but also, it's hard to hear, you know, but I always say that like they're in Shawshank
Yeah.
prison or
Right,
something,
yeah.
but it's, I have the opportunity to give them the human touch,
Yeah,
at
Okay.
least for a little while,
absolutely.
and that makes me feel good.
See, I'm a very emotional person, and when I'm around that kind of sounds, it's hard to
Uh,
like.
it is hard.
It is
It
hard,
is
and I guess
hard.
you have to train yourself
Yeah.
to get
Yes,
used
you
to
That's
got-
this.
not easy.
yeah.
I mean,
I would love to volunteer, but my emotional side of it, is
Yeah.
like, I want to
understand.
take everybody home. You
And
know?
Well, yeah, but you have to realize that you're doing some good for them too.
absolutely.
You know, yeah. Now, Ruth, people have a vague understanding of what the workers do at an animal shelter, but what services do you provide specifically?
For us, we take in, the majority of the animals we take in are stray. Some
Okay.
owner surrenders if you can't keep your pet and you want to rehome it. That really does fall to the bottom of my list. And in a 2-week period, we took in all state police cases, 31 miniature poodles, the 18 Dobermans, and right after the 18 Dobermans, it was 21 Chihuahuas. So
Wow.
that takes up space, that takes up resources.
Sure it does.
So that pushes owner surrenders down to the bottom. But our biggest thing is when I started the shelter, I used to remind my daughter, rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome. And it was that third R that was really important
Yeah.
because I kept
Yes.
wanting to take them home. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So the name, the name is kind of a funny story. It was supposed to be named after a dog named Anna, and the IRS wanted a more descriptive information of what that meant. So I came up with Association for Needy and Neglected, and that really is
Worked
what we
out,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, that's our niche,
Yeah.
and that's what we do. And having veterinarians on staff, a pharmacy license, those have all been big game changers. I have my own X-ray machine, my own sonogram
Yeah.
machine.
That's great.
Wait, I can't say. I say I a lot because I do feel like
yeah,
I
yeah, I
am
know
in
what
a
you're
shelter,
saying.
but I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have all those things available to us, which helps out in those situations. So
I feel like you guys need a bigger building.
you know, it's so funny, Rob. Those are people. Everybody say that about our parking
Mhm.
lot. And Rob can attest to this. So I don't say executive director. I hate that. Like, I'm like, yeah, I just work there, you know. But
Grand
so-
Poobah.
founder, that
Yeah.
sounds even better. But like my office is a little space at the desk, and then my
It's
manager
funny.
has the spot next to me, and then we now have an assistant to both of us because we were getting so bogged down. So Briley sits up in this little corner, and then our receptionist is in this corner. So the four of us share a space, half of what we're sitting in right now.
Okay. Wow.
So there's nothing fancy about the Anna shelter, but I say it all the time. I mean, what we lack in aesthetics, we make up for in heart. You know,
There you
and
go.
Rob can tell you.
And it's about the animals.
Yeah,
so,
and
That's
Rob,
right.
you know.
being there as you have really engrossed yourself in the shelter, like there is so much heart in that building and so
Yeah.
much passion.
Yes, yes.
You know, and that's what I want. I don't
Yeah.
want automatic waters. I don't
Right,
want
right.
a pretty office. I don't want any of that. I
It's
want my
really
animals to
everything
be,
about them.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, could we use other things? Absolutely. But by the grace of God, we figure it out every day. So,
Yeah.
What is the difference between, it may seem obvious, but a no-kill shelter to other shelters that
Yeah.
aren't no-kill?
So I think one of the most frustrating things for me is I hear other shelters say, well, we follow no-kill practices.
Yeah.
Well, you're either no-kill or you're not. You
Yeah.
know what I
Right.
mean? And so there's,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
there's
very-
not like, so that's kind of like this
Yeah.
like PC way to say it and kind of get yourself under the radar. So no-kill means that no healthy adoptable animal is euthanized. for no reason. So with us, and again, that's something that's very serious. So certainly I'm not God. We had a cat come in the other day with a broken back. Literally the cat was bent in half. It was still alive. You know, that I felt like it was begging me to send it to heaven. Like that. And I also have to
It's
be
hard to know, too.
absolutely. Well, that's why I rely on our veterinarians for that kind
Gray
of thing.
area, yeah.
So
Quality of life.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, look at Annie in our office.
Sure.
So Annie in the front office has 2 broken legs. She has traumatic brain injury, so she's blind from the impact. And I had sent her, so our vets, it was a little bit beyond their scope. I reached all the way out. We have cooperatives with OSU, Ohio State University, Cornell University, the University of Colorado veterinary schools. And I reached out to all 3 of them, sent them all of Annie's diagnostics, actually drove her to Cornell. And they all were like, yeah, she probably just euthanized this one. And I was like, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Annie's got a heart like a lion.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got a bunch of disabilities, but it does not stop her.
Oh,
She
yeah.
is the happiest dog.
I didn't even know she was blind.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, and,
Because
you wouldn't know. I mean, she's just, if an animal was suffering truly, obviously
Right,
I'm not
you
gonna
would
keep her
know,
alive.
yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you horror stories about other shelters I've been to where,
Ugh.
you know, so without that, you know, and then behavior issues too. I mean, if a dog, and this is probably how I liken it so people understand, Rob's heard this a million times, but, you know, Ted Bundy was born bad. You know, Ted Bundy had a chemical imbalance. He was born to a wealthy family. He had dates, no reason for him, he was
To do
educated.
whatever he
Exactly,
did, yeah.
other than there was something wrong with his
Mhm,
brain. It's the
mhm.
same thing in the animal kingdom.
Mhm.
Very rarely do I find dogs we can't rehabilitate. I'm big into behavior modification. I'm nerdy as far as like pack development and watching dogs and learning their behaviors. But there are dogs that are just born bad. And I hate when people say there's no such thing as a bad dog. That's like
There-
saying there's no
there
such thing as a
is.
bad person.
Yeah.
I mean, there are.
Yeah.
And there are some dogs, we just recently assisted the state police with a little girl who they had a very food aggressive dog and it ended up getting, so now this little girl, 6 years old, has no eye and no ear
Ugh.
because the family decided to keep an irresponsible pet. So with that being said, those would be the only times. But, and again, I'm deferring to Rob because he can back me up on this. I mean, we have at times where we have animals stacked on top of animals. That's not
Sure.
a great thing.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm proud of, but again, it works. They get adopted, they move on, and it's a temporary home.
Yeah,
You know, so it is dog jail, but you know, temporary.
Maria was mentioning about me being a volunteer, but what are some of the volunteer opportunities specifically for people with disabilities? Because
I
a
didn't
lot
even
of
know you had something like that.
Yeah.
a lot of people with disabilities, they have emotional and anxiety issues and depression, and being around furry friends like this little girl here would be awesome.
Yeah.
So what kind of and I know I've seen some people, I think a couple of them were on the autism spectrum.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, so what kind of things could
Yeah,
people with
that's
disabilities do there?
Prime example, what you're doing right now.
Okay.
I mean, stimulating the dog, the cat, petting them. A lot of things that our staff doesn't have time for. You know, to sit and pet and stir. How many times do you go in a room and we'll lose you for an hour because he's
Yeah.
got a dog on his lap, and
Oh, yeah.
that's like fantastic for me.
Even
If
if like someone comes in, pets them, but is crying, like me, like is that all, like, what do you do?
We
if
won't
they're
just
just crying?
cry.
I mean,
we'll
yeah.
feed you. We'll tell you jokes.
No,
like,
no,
yeah,
like
we
the
try to make it
emotional
fun.
impact of it. Like, yes, you want
It's-
to be with them.
But I
It's-
think when you see them going home, when you see them
Yeah.
getting adopted,
That's right,
when
that's
when
right.
the cat starts purring and curls
And
up on
then
your
you
lap
feel-
and
Yeah,
falls
you can
asleep.
you can sort of comfort yourself with the idea that they're not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you're
Eventually,
gonna
yeah.
I'm a crier. I
I
just
love
cry.
Okay. Now, I know, so I've met a few people with disabilities who are on, like, let's say SSI, and they're barely making it from 1 month to the next. And they'd like to get a cat or a dog, but they think to themselves, well, wait a minute, what if there are serious medical issues that come down the pike?
Yeah.
How could I have enough money to pay for whatever operation or
Sure.
what needs to be done?
Sure.
So they may be hesitant to get a dog or a cat.
Sure.
So what about the concept of pet insurance? During the years that I've heard about it, I've heard nothing but bad things. like it doesn't cover anything, it's a scam, it's this, it's
Yeah.
that. And I don't know if I don't think I believe that.
No, I think like anything, do your research, do your homework. There
yeah.
are a lot of companies that offer pet insurance. Years ago, there were only 2 that I know of. Now there's probably 25.
Lemonade,
Yeah,
Lemonade's
yeah,
behind
Lemonade's
it.
one, yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of them are reimbursement based, which is tough for a lot of people because you have to pay the bill, but they pay you back. Just like human insurance, some have pre-existing conditions, some will require a vet exam prior to issuing insurance, so
Okay,
just do your homework. I know
Okay.
there's a company that's written out of Canada, and if I remember, I can send you the link and you can post
Okay.
it. I've heard is one of the best as far as customer service and their coverage areas. I don't think there are any, a lot like human insurance that cover 100%, maybe 100% of preventative. But everything else is like percentage based, but every little bit helps.
well,
But
sure
I
it
will
does.
say too, I mean, I hate the term, but we have an angel fund where like, if you do need something, I mean, reach out. Certainly I don't want any animal to suffer whether it has an owner or not. Hey,
Hannah.
I'm trying to keep her part of the action, she's learning. So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily deter anyone from getting a pet. I think it's so valuable to have a pet in your life. But I will say also be reasonable.
Yeah.
If
you
your
know you
finances
can't-
are an issue, get one cat, don't
Right,
get 7,
right,
you know what I
and-
mean?
The
And
thing
buying-
is, if you can't support the animal, like, and you know you can't, then don't put
Probably
yourself
not a
in
good
that
idea,
situation.
come and volunteer, come and
Yeah.
hang out
Yeah,
at the
sure,
house,
Yeah.
and by
be a
and
pet
large,
fix.
by and large, cats usually present fewer medical issues
Yeah.
than dogs, not always, but in,
No, you're right.
it's kind of a.
They have the cool
a
cat
rule.
litter now. It changes colors and it tells you if they have
If
like
there's
a urine.
exactly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's called Pretty Litter. I don't know why I know that, but I
Pretty
do.
litter,
Yeah, they
okay.
must be advertising.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know,
They
right?
know all about it,
Yeah.
their marketing department
They got me.
needs to know,
They're
yeah.
in my head.
So what other, besides just coming to cuddle the animals, what else could people with disabilities
Anybody
do?
willing to do like administrative, like phone calls, you know how
Okay.
big I am on follow-up phone calls.
Okay,
Volunteering at events, we have a lot of off-site events
Yeah.
that need help, exactly, folding laundry.
Okay.
There's always stuff to do at the shelter, I mean,
well,
we can
you
always.
could do like, what about laundry
Yeah, I
and
just said
feet?
She did it, but it's
I don't know
okay.
what you
You
say,
know what?
Yeah, it's
okay.
okay.
Don't even start.
Look, I
You know
was,
what?
Besides laundry.
I
I
was,
see him every week,
I
so
know,
that's
I
why I
know.
can.
yeah, and it's really,
I love it.
it's
You ready to get
He
me?
loves me.
nauseating
He loves
sometimes.
me, I don't wanna kid you. He
Anyway,
loves me. I was
Hannah,
scaring
come
my
here.
dog.
Come
So
here.
I
what
was
else
scaring my
besides
dog.
that?
No, but they could like feed the animals.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
staff always likes help, I mean, you know that, I mean, the girls are always happy to have help, boys, we have boys and girls working
Mhm.
there, but, so yeah, we always, and just like I said, the company of it, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So just having other people in the building that are there for socialization,
Yeah.
stimulation,
Yeah.
stimulation, those are all things that are important.
I remember going into kitty condos, I call them,
Yeah,
and having like 3 or 4
Oh,
cats walking around.
Yeah, yeah.
Back of my.
I'd be scared to move like
Oh,
that.
they're,
You know,
they're
everywhere.
awesome.
Yeah.
They're so, and it's funny because when we adopted Hans, I went into his condo and he jumped right on my lap and I thought, well, you're the one for me.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
he picked it, that's a lot of
They
times.
picked you.
Yeah,
Squeaky
absolutely.
wheel gets the grease.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
that's how it works, yeah.
So,
He is a
what
good cat.
what do you do if I'm sure you've had some animals there that have been there like forever. How do you help to get them? Are there
Yeah.
any incentives?
Oh,
that,
absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, I try not to make monetary incentives because, you either don't want it, you want it or you don't.
Right.
So we're big on like top of mind awareness, like getting that animal in front of as many people as we can. So the
Okay.
girls will use a platform like TikTok.
Yeah.
We'll do a Facebook Live, we'll do different things, get them out to events, get them places, kind of like highlight their uniqueness and
Mhm.
things
Yeah,
like
sure.
that might make them more adoptable. But and you know what, I'm a big prayer person, so a lot of times I'm like, okay, God, you need to get this animal out here,
Yeah, really.
and help it work. We have our prison dog program, so sometimes the lifers will end up going to prison dog program, which is kind of a cool, like,
Yeah,
niche
that's
for the
cool,
dogs
yeah,
too,
yeah.
yeah. Gets them out of the environment, but yeah, we just work hard, that's it.
Okay. And your father was the famous Jim Thompson, who was on Infamous.
Yeah.
Jim Thompson was on City Council.
He was, my whole life, my dad grew up a politician's daughter, so, And yeah, but it was, I think the difference, even though my dad was a politician, my dad was a good, honest man. Not
Yeah.
that there aren't good, honest politicians, but he was definitely a rare breed. He's very philanthropic. When I say he loved the city of Erie, my mom always says he was married to the city of Erie and then her. And he did. He truly, truly cared. And I'm so thankful being raised by great parents like that, that I have a lot of passion and compassion. So yeah, my dad was a public servant for years and years, made a lot of changes in Erie, started the Neighborhood Watch program, started the Sister City program. You know, and it was funny because I was just talking about this the other day, like, if my dad wanted to run to Sam's Club, I would always think like, we're gonna be there for 3 hours, you know, because everybody would stop him and talk to him. And now it's me, you know, now like I can't go anywhere without somebody wanting, and you know, and that can be
He says
exhausting.
you have a big head sometimes.
Me?
Yeah. I said you have a big head.
I was like, wait a minute, what?
Oh, she'll have a big head.
So
but-
you do know her.
Whatever.
That's
I
awesome,
so
yeah.
don't. They're like
I'm
seriously.
just
I think circumference wise, when
No,
I was
I
buying
have
a
a
hat,
giant forehead.
and I do. Yeah, I have like a yeah.
No.
I don't do bangs either. But with that being said, no, I don't, and I do appreciate everybody's support. I mean, we couldn't do it without
Yeah.
the support.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
But like compassion fatigue, I suffer from PTSD, and that is something that I had to work back as people, strangers coming up and talking
Yeah,
to me,
yeah.
and I reminding myself like why they're talking to me, and
Right.
you know, so but yeah, I mean, I think boundaries are hard, especially for caregivers like myself.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't respect boundaries, and I don't know how to set them. So it just makes
It's a learning
for.
process, you
That's
know.
why I spend all my time in my bubble between my dogs in the shelter and my horses. I don't really do much.
Now, we've been talking about dogs and cats primarily, but they're not the only animals at the
No.
shelter.
We
Yeah,
take
reptiles.
everything. Yeah, so we do reach out. There's a reptile expert that helps us. Well, yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. We always have small mammals like
Okay.
mice, hamsters, gerbils.
I'm
guinea
afraid of
pigs,
things with teeny
rabbits.
tiny mouths. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Like
that.
Rob.
That's exactly why. They're
Interesting.
teeth.
Okay.
Rabbits?
But
Rabbits
big
are
animals
terrible.
have big teeth.
Yeah, but I'm not scared of big teeth. I'm scared of teeny teeth.
Interesting.
Because they're like pinchers. You
We're
know
gonna
what I
have to
mean?
work into that.
Yeah.
I know what's going on there, girl.
But you've had rabbits, I've also seen birds.
Sure, a lot of
I've
birds.
seen chinchillas.
Yeah, a lot of
Ooh.
birds, a lot of random mammals.
Birds don't like me. They
no, I
know
don't
I'm
like-
fearful of them.
I think they're, well, I'm gonna offend a bunch of
A
people,
lot
but I
of
think they're dirty.
humans don't like her
Who?
either. So,
Me?
yeah.
Oh, that's not nice.
No, that's not true either. I feel for her
That's
having to
okay.
work.
No.
How often do you guys do this?
Oh, well, we try to do it like twice a
Twice a
month.
month.
We're trying,
Twice.
our goal is twice a month, and because we weren't able to do it in October because I had the fundraiser, and then
Right.
there were some scheduling problems with CRI and all, they had some other activities going on, so we missed October, and we don't want people to think, oh my
That
God,
you're
where are
gone.
they? What
Yeah,
happened to them?
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
and-
No,
So
consistency.
we're back, yeah,
Yeah.
we're back.
Consistency is important. Yeah, but I mean, I think that, and I have to like give a public shout out, Rob. You've been such a great.
Oh
don't talk
God,
about
now
big
whose
head.
head's gonna be
Not
exploding?
me, the big guy right there. He is. He's done fantastic and does amazing fundraisers for us and puts his heart and soul into it. And God bless him because he comes through every time. So.
Thank you,
That
Ruth.
means a lot. No, and it does. And I
Well-
remember when he first came to me and he was like, well, I'm doing fundraisers for other shelters, but I'm going to give yours a chance. And I was like, okay, you know, and I like him too. We have fun together. We
That's
joke
good.
around a lot. And he gets my sense of humor, which a lot of people don't. So.
It's a lot.
I just, now that you've introduced me, Ruth,
Oh, my
I'd just like to thank all the little, seriously, I'm like you, I'm passionate about it. I'd rather be around animals than people,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth. And if I had my way, every third building would be an animal shelter.
Yeah.
Because I think we just don't have enough.
No.
I mean, you got Orphan Angels, BYC, Because You Care. You got the Erie Animal Network, and they're still like overflowing.
Yeah, everybody
I mean,
is.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's
hard.
crazy,
It's
yeah.
really hard.
so. Well, thank you, Ruth
Gosh,
Thompson.
you're
Yes,
welcome,
thank you
Rob.
This has been
Hoger.
great,
Yay.
and it's
Yeah.
always a pleasure to see you.
Yes,
Yeah.
so,
And Maria,
yeah, so for next week, we're gonna try to have the Department of Human Services come in. We're working with a little schedule thing, but we should be having them come on next week. So keep an eye on for that. You can watch us on Facebook, and then you can also see us on YouTube when the video goes up there as well.
And you can also see Ruth periodically
On
on
the
Jet
TV.
Yeah, or you could just come to the shelter.
Oh, yeah.
There
Visit
you
the
go,
animals.
yeah,
but
there you
don't-
go.
Don't scare
I like
me.
pointing at the TV and saying, look at
I
you.
know, yeah,
I know,
no,
yeah.
and I did not realize we were doing this on video,
You look
so,
great. You
right,
look
you know,
great.
and I don't even care, 'cause it's
Okay.
not about
It's
Ruth,
about
it's
you.
about
You
Not
you.
about
look wonderful as always.
Oh, Robbie.
Aw. Well, all right, you
Well,
guys, thank you.
Thank you, folks, and we will see you next time on Independence Today.
Woo! Okay,
I like that title,
right? It's a good one.
it's a good one. Did you come up with that?